Jetskis could be used by the border force to spin migrant dinghies off course and send them back to France. They'll spin them right round like a record, baby.
Rock and roll!
Training is said to have taken place over the summer, with officials learning how to redirect migrants back to French waters using the high-powered, armoured personal watercraft. Or in other words, those loud little seagoing leaf blowers. That's our plan. We're going to use some seaside plaything to repel all borders. Couldn't we find any lilos? Were there no armoured pedalos available? Couldn't we find one of those inflatable bananas to station some border guard on? The plans are going to be overseen by Priti Patel. You know Priti Patel, don't you? Yeah, that's her. Yeah. Her goofy plan is for 2 jet skis to intercept and circle boats attempting to make the crossing. After the boat's been spun around, the jet skis will escort it back to French waters. Well, here's a fun fact. You can't push a boat out into sea if it's not safe. So overloaded small boats won't fit the criteria of vessels that get the Patel pushback. And as most people already come across the channel on a small boat, it just means that none of them can be turned around, and bigger boats that people use now, the more safe ones, they'll be left empty. And everyone will come across in a small boat. What this political stunt does is the exact opposite of what the government are pretending. Which fits right in. I mean, it's going to make people less safe. It won't discourage people smugglers at all, and it will have no effect other than to get the cultists all excited about the idea of drowning foreigners. And you can imagine that's what will happen if people on jet skis are trying to turn a small boat full of people around that don't want to get turned around. I mean, what could possibly go right? So what will happen is that we will spend £200 million for a once-in-a-while headline that we're winning the war on the invading hordes, and Priti Patel will show up at Dover in her Home Secretary badged armoured cagoule and get her photograph taken smirking next to some damp Syrian. And if the boats have been intercepted in British waters, they're ours now. We can't reintroduce them to France any more than we could tow them to Aruba. And that figure's right, by the way. Priti Patel is going to spend 200 million quid of your money on a fleet of publicity stunt border patrol boats as she steps up attempts to get headlines about a phony distraction war about stopping migrants crossing the channel. She said it's her #1 priority. The actual Home Secretary said that. Crime is up. Solving crime is down. The entire justice system is collapsing. Children are going hungry. And her #1 priority is posing as a tough guy. She's ordered a major replacement of Border Force's 5 ageing boats at a cost to us of £200 million, they say. So that means that there'll be £500 million and they won't work when they arrive. I mean, the Ministry of Defence just spent £3.5 billion on armoured vehicles, which are so bad they cause the troops who use them to suffer hearing loss, back spasms and joint pains. Literally hundreds of our troops had to seek urgent medical attention after riding on them. £3.5 billion. I mean, those troops might have been fighting fit when they climbed aboard our new armoured vehicles, but they were hospital cases when they climbed back out again. They were 10 years in the making, these things, and useless on arrival. Actually, that could be the slogan for the Tory party conference. 10 years in the making, useless on arrival. What do you think, Budge?
I can't comment on that.
Yeah, he's going to think about it. I mean, we can't do anything right. Prissy is going to blow probably 500 million quid on some new anti-dinghy military vessels, and the dinghies will probably spin them round and they'll sink. Mounted guns, Union Jack flag and all. Just don't let the portrait of the Queen in the engine room get damp. She should make that her #1 priority. So that's the estimate, 200 million. And as we know with any government project, it'll be more than double and won't work when they get here. It's unclear even how many vessels will be built for this sum. I'll guess none. They'll spend 200 million quid on consultants and get a friend of the regime to bid unopposed to build the boats, despite the fact that up to now they've only run a pet grooming and dog walking business. And they'll shower them with our cash and release a report into why we got nothing for the money on the last day of sitting before a summer recess and conclude that lessons must be learned. God, it's also painful. But that's not all. They're going to spend 18 million quid on drones and £6 million on aerial surveillance. And there's the 250 million quid we've given to France to patrol our borders for us. It's incredible. We can't leave the country to go anywhere because the traffic light colour of our chosen destination is likely to change at any time. The cost of the holiday could double. We might have to spend 10 days in some airless airport hotel hellhole, and the queues at Heathrow take longer to get through than the holiday itself. We can't leave, and no one can come here because of the vigorous flag wavers. Nothing says global Britain more than a country you can't leave or enter. And how pathetic are the attempts to solve a problem that the government promised us would be fixed by Brexit? No more foreigners. That's what it was all about, wasn't it? How's that going, by the way?
Oh, fabulous.
So far this year, 14,500 have made the crossing. That's twice what was recorded in the whole of last year. More winning.